And I just walked close up to the mirror and I looked at myself in the eyes and I just said, I hate you. Just jump out the window. Just jump out the window.
You were the best father imaginable. I'll never forget the way you loved our daughters. You always spoke life and you played like a kid.
And it makes me emotional thinking about it because that stupid email was more important than what the only thing my son wants in life. Literally all 3 businesses that I've launched and created and exited 2 successfully in my life have come from...
Man, okay. First off, thank you for being here. So excited to dive in with you today. When you think about your life, Michael, your story from addiction to transformation, healing, growth, and now impact on a worldwide level, go back to your 22-year-old self, if you can. And as you look at him, as you bring him to the awareness, is there something that you could tell him to like wake him up from the sleepwalk, wake him up from where he's at right now?
Ooh, that is a good question that no one has ever asked me before. 22. I was really, at 22, I was severely lost. I guess let me try to articulate what it was, where I was at 22.
Please.
So at 22, I was at the sort of tail end, I guess, of my addiction. And I was, I found real solace in alcohol and drugs starting at around 12.
Wow.
And that's kind of when it started for me. And we can talk about kind of like what it was like before that.
Sure.
But I needed a way to escape what was going on in my life. So I'm grateful for the introduction to alcohol and drugs at that time in my life because I was put into a mental institution at 12 years old for attempting suicide, and so I had a deep hatred for my life at that age. And then I found this thing that just made me feel more confident, like I didn't need to feel the way I was feeling. Decade after that, it became less about an escape route and more about a reliance. And I'd gotten into criminal activity. I was a criminal. And it's so weird for me to say that today because like my life is just it's so different. I mean, the only thing I could say that is the same from those days to today is some bad tattoos. I've gotten a lot of good tattoos since I made the decision to get sober, but prior, I made some bad tattoo decisions that are still in my body. Everything else is different.
Wow.
But I was a sad human that had no self-love and self-respect. And so if I had to tell that 22-year-old self one thing, I'm trying to think of like it would be easy for me to say, it's okay, buddy, like you don't have to do this. But I don't think that would have moved me then.
Yeah.
I think I would need to hear something way more powerful. What I think a lot of the sort of motivation, I know I'm sort of tiptoeing around answering this question, but when I was a kid, my father was insanely hard on me. Very, very difficult to live in a house with him. He was abusive, verbally, emotionally, physically. And I think what that did for me was, my sister, we lived in a very small apartment. My sister and I shared a bedroom. And when something went down, I was the one that always took the heat. Always. And my sister, she witnessed a lot of the stuff that went on in the house, but like my father never really like was super aggressive with her. With me, it was bad news all the time. So when something happened, he came down on me hard, whether it was verbally or physically. And so I think I was sort of conditioned to want to be perfect, because if I wasn't, there was this trauma response that I'm going to get it from my father.
Wow.
So once I found drugs and alcohol, that fear of being perfect or needing to be perfect all the time just got washed away. And I think if I had to tell myself something at 22 years old that could have potentially moved me was, hey man, you don't have to be perfect.
Wow.
And you don't have to worry about your father anymore, And the weird thing is that my father died a long time ago. And I believe he's a guardian angel for me today. He's in my prayers every morning.
Wow.
I do strongly believe that if my father was alive today, he and I would have a very different relationship. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I long for that relationship because I don't know what it's like to have a father. When he was alive, it was bad. Mm-hmm. And now that he's gone, I don't have a relationship. So I genuinely don't know what it's like to have a father. Mm. And I long for that. I want a father, I've always wanted a father. And it's weird to say, like, I just didn't have one. But I do think that would be something that if I heard at that age of 22, hey man, like, it's okay to not be perfect. Like, you are good the way you are. Mm. You are going to fail, and that's okay. That is life, And so I think even hearing that today for myself is powerful, right? Like, you don't have to be perfect, man. Like, it's impossible. So in those days, like, I used drugs and alcohol to get away from that fear of needing to be perfect all the time, because they just sort of muted everything.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's an answer to your question.
Yeah. And I love that. How often, you got me thinking, how often do our present selves, like this current self, need the same advice that young 12-year-old little boy did, And like, that's the truth that he needed to hear then, that you need to hear at 25, 30, 40, right? So on. Would there be something that if he felt, would it have made a difference? Because we're talking about words and maybe like truth reminders, but would there be any different if he felt something?
I think it's really hard. Like, addiction is, it's very, very difficult to explain the mind of an addict, because someone who's never experienced it before could look at someone who is an addict, right? Like, we're dealing with this massive opioid fentanyl epidemic in this country, right? You look at all these people on the street, on social media, you see videos of them, they've got arms falling off, and you would imagine, you'd be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, logically.
Just stop.
Right.
Go to treatment, like, figure it out. Like, and then when they get on people have found it interesting to go and interview these addicts, right? And they're like, I hate my life. Yeah. I hate what I'm doing. Like, this is terrible. And, and then they'll typically get to like, nobody's doing anything. And the fact is like, nobody is going to do anything, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, there is a solution. It starts with you and God, And so I think, like, it's so hard to define the mindset of someone who is caught in the grasp of addiction, because if you haven't experienced it, you don't know what it feels like to have the substance claws in your back, just holding you down. So I really think that, what my exit out was basically, I had in July of 2004, I had been on like my addiction, my disease evolved to heroin and opioids from years and years of stimulants like cocaine and alcohol was really my thing, and then it got to a point where like I was smoking the cocaine a lot, and I couldn't deal with like the days on end being awake and like sleeping an hour maybe, and so somebody had introduced me to heroin, and that I was like, oh my God, this is it, I figured it out. Like I got it now. Like I could still do that, but I could always come down. Like I don't have to. And then it just kind of evolved to like pretty much just heroin. And then I overdosed. And I overdosed in a hot summer day in New York City in July of 2004. And I was with this girl, and we were in this apartment. And we were using, and I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, looked over to my right. I was naked. I looked over to my right. There was a mirror on the headboard of the bed, and I saw my reflection in the mirror. And I was white like paper from my forehead to my toes in the reflection.
Wow.
And I was like, that must be in my head. Like, there's no way I'm like that pale from like full body pale, like arms, hands, chest, everything was white. And I looked over again, and I was like, oh my God, no, I am. And I stood up scared to death. And then that was it. Boom, just out. And I kind of remember coming to a little bit on and off, coming to, and the girl that I was with was screaming. I remember saying, call an ambulance. She was terrified, of course, which I understand. She ended up figuring out a way to get me from the bedroom to the bathroom. She put me in the bathtub, like with my back lying on my back in the bathtub, and then she just turned on the cold water. And I just remember the cold water hitting me in the chest, coming to, dipping back out. I died and came back to life, right? And then I lied in the bed after I had finally come to. And I was in that bed and I was shivering like hard, and I was like, this is it. Like, you've taken it to the end of the road, man. Like, you cannot do this anymore. This is it. This is the last time. Like, you're done. Like, you just died. Finally, I got the strength to get dressed and leave the apartment. So I remember walking west on 13th Street from the Lower East Side of New York City, or the East Village. And I was walking west, and it was 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and I was like, I'm done, man. I was like, I can't do this ever again. Like, this is the last straw. Like, you've taken it way too far. And then 4 hours later, I was back there.
No.
Yeah. And I couldn't stop. Like, you would imagine, right? Like, someone who had just experienced that, were the scariest moment in life to date at that point.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stop. I couldn't get out of my own way. And so that's why I have an enormous amount of empathy for people that are caught in the grasps of addiction, because no matter what, it could be the worst thing that's ever happened. And by the way, when you're an addict, bad things happen all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of I remember having this conversation with myself, being like, okay, that's it, man. You're going to die this way. So let's make it fast. Let's just go hard and just make it fast, because I did not have the balls to kill myself.
Wow.
Although I wanted to. I desperately wanted to not live in my own skin at that point, when I knew that I didn't have control over this thing at all, and it just had its complete control over me. And so I just said, let's go. And there was a 2-week period of time where it was just I was just a complete lunatic. I don't remember it really at all. I can honestly say right now, if I closed my eyes and tried really, really hard to remember what those 2 weeks were like, I couldn't point out one moment in that 2-week period of time. But I do know that it was really bad.
Yeah.
And everybody around me was scared for my life, because I was just savage. And then it was a Monday. This is what I do remember, because it was the last time I used. I had been up for probably 2 or 3 days. I was on my roof of the apartment that I lived on, and I was with these two guys. One of them is now sober, one of them is not. And they were like, all right, man, we're calling it. And I was like, I'm not. You know, I still had drugs and I still had alcohol, and I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And I remember walking into my apartment, and then again, I had a moment in the mirror where I walked into my bedroom, I closed my bedroom door, and I had like a wall mirror on the wall right there, and I caught my reflection, and I just looked like death. I just looked like death. And like, I kind of remember like I was going to keep walking, but I like stopped, and I turned around and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I like intentionally made eye contact with myself out of my mind. And I just walked close up to the mirror, and I looked at myself in the eyes, and I just said, I hate you. Just jump out the window. Just jump out the window. And I was having this conversation where I was just going to jump out the window because I lived on the 6th floor. I was like, if I just did it, it would just be over. It would just end. And, you know, I was trying to think about what people were going to say about me, and was I happy or proud of like any, it was like, no, you're not proud of anything. Like, just die, because it's just going to get worse. And I blacked out. I woke up 16 hours later, and I'd still had a job bartending. And, you know, I had multiple missed calls on my phone. I'm sure people thought I was dead because I'd slept through work. And finally, I like grabbed the courage to like call my boss, and I'd slept through work so many times, and he was like, Mikey, you got to come to the restaurant. Got to the restaurant, he looked at me and he was like, dude, you're done. I got to fire you. Like, you're dying. Everybody knows it. We can't do this. It's just, you got to go get help. You got to figure it out. You got to get sober. And he said sober. And so many people would tap me on the shoulder and be like, dude, you're dying. Like, do you not think that the people around you know that, like, see what you're doing? We all know. You need to go get help.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this guy, Frank, looked at me, and, you know, he was like, I love you, Mikey, like a son. I was 23. He was like, you got to get sober. And I just heard that word for the first time. It was just like an echo chamber. It was like sober, sober, sober. And that was it. That was it. Like, I can't tell you exactly what it was about that day, that time, but the way I think of it is like, I wanted my job. I begged him for my job. He wouldn't give me my job back. You know, he told me I can clean the restaurant with the porters if I got sober. And God just stepped in, you know. God just like swooped in. Like, I had this like little moment of grace where I was like ready. And God just like came and just like held me somehow. And I picked up the phone. I called the one person who I trusted, who I knew was sober. And she introduced me to this dude, Marcus, who was her boyfriend. And he showed up and he listened to me. And he was this tough, cool guy covered in tattoos, you know, wearing a big gold watch. And like, I looked at him and I was like, wait a second. Like, that guy's sober? Like, he's living a sober life? I think I could do that. Like, I want to be him. I want to be like him. He was like an influencer, you know what I mean? Before the influencer thing was happening, he influenced me in the best way possible. And he gave me a plan, you know, and he was like, he listened to me for 4 hours, didn't say a word. He just said, I want you to tell me your story. And I'm sure I lied my ass off, you know, but he didn't care. He just listened to me. And then he was like, all right, man, I can help you. And I was like, you can help me? He's like, yeah, I can help you. He's like, I'm going to give you a list of things to do from morning till night. And if you can do these things, I know you're going to have a life beyond your wildest dreams.
Wow. All right. Thanks for watching. Real quick, wanted to tap in to the official sponsor of the podcast, Built Basics. I'm currently wearing their Rome Knit hoodie. This is the most comfortable hoodie I wear. It's buttery soft, flexible, versatile. I can work out in it. I can also just chill at the house after the day and feel super comfy. So this podcast is sponsored by them. If you want to check it out, go shop for some styles. Get yourself some gear. I'll link it in the show notes below. Built.com, 30% off site-wide for the holidays. All right, let's get back to the episode.
And this was God speaking through him, and I didn't know at that time, but it was. And I'll tell you what he told me. He basically said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get to bed as early as possible. And whether that's 9 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, I want you to commit to getting to bed as early as possible. And he knew that I worked in the restaurants, but he was like, just, this is what I'm asking you to do. And by getting to bed early, you're going to be able to wake up early. So get up as early as possible. And the first thing that you're going to do when you wake up in the morning is you are just going to jump out of bed. You're not going to roll. You're not going to snooze. You're going to just like jump out of bed, and you're going to turn around. You're going to make your bed right away. You turn around and make your bed. As soon as you make your bed, you're going to beeline it to the bathroom. You're going to take a piss. You're going to brush your teeth. You're going to floss your teeth. You're going to put on your contact lenses, and you're going to get down on your hands and knees and pray. And I was like, pray? He's like, I don't care if you believe in God. I don't care if you have a God that you are afraid of. He's like, you need help. And the best way to start asking for help is on your knees in the morning.
Wow.
And I was like, what do I say? And he said, help. That's all you say. Get on your knees and say help. And right after you pray, you're going to do as many push-ups as you can. And I was like, I hadn't done a push-up in 10 years, maybe.
Really?
I don't know. He's like, you're going to do as many push-ups as you can. And as soon as you're done with those push-ups, you're going to make your way back to your bedroom. You're going to put on a pair of sneakers, and you're going to get out of the house. And you're going to walk. You're going to walk. That walk will turn into a jog. That jog will turn into a run. And as soon as you're done with that, you're going to come back to your apartment, and you're going to have a big bowl of oatmeal. And he was like, you can add whatever you want to it. Make it taste any way you want, but you need a healthy, nutritious meal in the morning that's going to fill you up. That's satiating. That doesn't cost a lot of money. So as soon as you're done with that bowl of oatmeal, you're going to go to this sober community meeting. You're going to sit as close to the front as possible. You're going to raise your hand. You're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to tell them why they're there. Your name is Michael, and you're there because you're a drug addict. Let them know. And as soon as you're done with that meeting, try to connect with some people there. And then once you're done, you're going to go right down to this gym, which is a Muay Thai academy. He says, you're going to go down to the Muay Thai academy, and you're going to meet me there, and we're going to train. And I'm going to teach you how to be a man. And I was like, I always wanted to be a ninja. As a little kid, I was like, okay, I can do that. And then he said, we're going to train for 2 hours. And then when we're done training, you're going to eat chicken and broccoli for lunch. And when you're done with that, you're going to take a nap. You're going to wake up, you're going to go to work, have chicken and broccoli for dinner, go to bed. Right before you go to bed, you're going to drop back down on your knees. You're going to thank God for getting you through the day sober. Crawl into bed, close your eyes, and just stay there until you fall asleep. And rinse and repeat. And he says, if you can do those things, it's a lot, but if you can do those things, I just laid it all out for you. Yeah. So you've got a plan and you've got direction. Mm-hmm. You're going to be all right.
Wow.
And that was that, man. That's the life that I've been living for the last 21 years. You know?
My gosh, dude.
And I haven't had a drug or a drink since that day.
Oh my gosh, dude. First off, man, thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing that like story and who you were versus who you are now. I mean, bro, it takes so much courage and bravery to speak your experience and speak your truth like that. I believe you're just getting started, man. Just getting started on the impact that you have with people in the real world, the people who listen to stuff like this, the people who watch your content, and the people who are affected by the people you affected and impacted for good. So I'm so honored and proud of you, bro, for everything to this point, but knowing you're just getting started. There's a lot there. When you think about who or what played the biggest role in pulling you up out of that addiction, was it Marcus?
Yeah.
Or someone else, something else?
I mean, I think first, if I had to be totally honest, like I God for me, you know, like there, there was a plan, I mean, it was first Frank, Karen was next,
Yeah.
who I called, and Karen, Marcus. But you can call it a coincidence that all those ducks lined up in a 6-hour period of time.
Right.
Or what I believe is that God just was like, hey, I'm here, dude. Like, I've always been here. You just haven't opened the door for me to step in. And for whatever reason that day, the door was just like a crack, and I just kind of like pushed it open. And so, but if I had to give it to one person that's really helped me develop this life, it's Marcus, for 100%, for sure. And he knows that, and he's still a brother, a major brother of mine. Every year on my sober anniversary, I call him. Because he was the first guy that I spoke to on my sober anniversary. And I always ask him for a little piece of advice on August 2nd every year. And this year, his advice to me was, just breathe. That was the piece. He was like, when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed because you've built this awesome life, right? He's like, I've watched you from day one, basically from birth, which is kind of like where my life started then,
Right. Yeah.
to the guy that you are today.
Yeah.
He's like, I've just witnessed you just, you stack a lot of things on top of each other. And I would imagine that you deal with a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress. And I was like, you're right. And he was like, all I'm going to ask you is like my prodigy. Just remember to breathe. Because I think we forget to breathe. We hold our breath a lot.
Absolutely.
Like how often do we stop and just, feels good to do that. And he brought that back for me. I forgot that, like, sometimes I'm just moving and shaking. I'm like, I've got a lot of things, and like, I'm just not breathing. I'm forgetting to breathe, And so that was a great little nugget that he gave me this year.
That is amazing to have. Shout out to Marcus, bro. Shout out to Marcus. Lifesaver. Doing God's work, bro. Doing God's work in the world. And so that's just amazing that we have people in our lives like that, and for him making an impact on you. When you think about Marcus, though, what was it about him that made such an impact? Because you're talking, and I'm like, the morning routines, the game plan he laid out, and all the stuff he did, pretty simple. Like, it wasn't rocket science. And doesn't mean it's not hard, but it's simple. I think Michael Smoke, he says a lot of times, he's like, it's not easy, but it is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And I love that. It's like, you're talking about breathing, something that happens every single minute of the day subconsciously, but you're talking about bringing that to the conscious awareness. And then things like going to bed early, waking up, doing push-ups, or hitting your knees, talking to God, starting with gratitude, all the things we kind of know. So I love how simple it is that you just described, but it doesn't make it easy. So what is it about Marcus? Characteristics, things you saw in him that you admired. What is it about this man who made such an impact on you for the positive?
I mean, I think just looking at him when I was in that place when I had kind of come to the conclusion that I had taken the first action to get sober.
Yeah.
Like, I called Karen,
Yep.
She called him, he showed up. So now I was in this, right?
Invested.
I was in.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm doing this. But there was fear, right? Because I was thinking to myself, I'd lived the last 10, 11 years of my life partying like there was no end in sight, And so the fear pretty quickly started to cave in on me. This idea that my life's going to be boring. I'm never going to hook up with a hot girl ever again. I'm going to be like hanging out in libraries.
Just a dud.
Just a dud.
All those things, keep in mind, like, do something pretty nice right now. Like, read a book in the library, like, just breathe and take it easy. Early nights, but carry on. Sorry.
So like, that was like kind of the thoughts that were going through my mind. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, might as well just, pack it up.
Sure.
Your life is going to be boring.
Yep.
And when I saw him, tough dude, shaved head, tattoos, super stylish, like just sat down with me, treated me like a human, and asked me to tell me my story, tell him my story. He had this aura about him that I can't describe any other way than God sent. That was what it was.
Wow.
I felt like this man was sent my way at the perfect time. And I've now paid it forward hundreds of times over with other men. Sometimes I think we need to find someone to look up to. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like we need someone to want to emulate.
Absolutely.
And so he was that for me.
Yeah.
And now I know I have been that for a lot of other men as well.
Bingo.
And it's only because I accepted faith and I continue to take the steps and the actions that I might have been this sort of God-sent human, or I might be this God-sent human for other men struggling, because that's exactly what he was for me. He was a God-sent human that I needed to meet at that moment in my struggle. And had I not met him and his energy and the way he looked, I might have just been right back at square one. So, you know, he's a crazy person. He knows he's crazy. And I love him for it, you know, but like, I think his energy was really, I can't describe it any other way than like, you know, God put him in my path.
Yeah. God sent. I mean, that's a powerful idea to, you know, put yourself in Marcus's shoes, right? So you're struggling. You're at the lowest point in your life. And Marcus, I don't know Marcus. Again, I love and respect you, and shout out to Marcus. But I'm sure he had his own baggage. I'm sure he had his own inadequacies or feelings of inadequacy, struggles. I'm sure he felt unworthy at times. I'm sure he felt imposter syndrome. But what I heard you say is that Marcus, whether he knew it or not, understood that he could be the answer to someone's prayer. He could be the divine timing of something so much bigger than himself. You know, and so that's also a great reminder, just like we talked about when we opened this up. What did young Michael need to hear? At the same time, Michael today, Brian today, you know, you today, you get to recognize that with everything being said, you're not maybe where you want to be. You got your own struggles. You feel inadequate. You have imposter syndrome. You get to be a part of someone's prayer. You get to be a part of someone's solution to heal them, to experience a breakthrough, to help them find forgiveness for themselves, for someone else, to inspire someone to go and live higher than what they're currently settling for. That's a gift that you and I get to receive and live out. And everybody gets to do the same thing. And I need that reminder too, man. Like that's the truth. We get to be a part of that. So man, again, shout out to Marcus. And I love that he's a godsend. August 2nd, I'm saving that. I'm reaching out to you every single year from now on. And with that said, I mean, your story is incredible. It's incredibly inspiring and powerful. Do you feel, because of this transformation, and I'd love to tap into just this higher power that AA talks about, or God, and what that means to you, you know, and how it affects your life. But with your transformation, do you feel today as if you do have a lot to lose? Is that heavy, or no? How do you feel about the life you've built right now?
You know, I think it's kind of, if I think about that question, I am a fearless person. in 95% of the things I do on a daily basis.
Okay.
The one area where I get caught and feel like I'm up on the ropes is if I think that my health is in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. I have a fear of getting sick and not being there for my wife and my kids. Mm. That is a real fear of mine. And I'm sure it's tied up in my, addiction is a byproduct of mental illness. I think I was born with some kind of mental illness. And then, you pour some trauma on top of that and it just sort of polarizes it. And so this fear of it's not even a fear of death, it's a fear of getting sick. And so when you look on the backside of the fear of getting sick, it's the fear of losing everything you've built. Uh-huh. And the number one thing that I'm most proud of in my life is the family that I've built, by far and away. Like my kids have been born into like a truly wonderful, safe, loving family. Man. Like could not be more safe, more loving. There's so much love in our house. And it doesn't mean that my wife and I don't argue. It doesn't mean that every once in a while I got to lay down the law with my sons. The love that's in that house is undeniable. And so to answer your question, do I feel like I've got a lot to lose? When I walk through life on a day-to-day basis with the decisions that I make for myself and for my business, I'm fearless and I'm courageous and I'm willing to take a risk, and there's not a lot of fear there. I'll give you an example. I recently did a full body MRI scan. Okay. And I got the results back from that scan and they found a lesion in my liver. Now, I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, a lesion in my liver? Like, what do you... that sounds like cancer to me. And everything stopped. The fear that I got, this happened 3 months, 3 months ago. The fear that was introduced to my life was overwhelming. Wow. Terrified. I was terrified. And I got on the phone with the doctors and they were like, look, this is benign, but we want you to go back in and get another MRI just to be sure. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean just to be sure? Like, you're saying it's benign. Yeah. They're like, well, we just, we're doctors. Like, we want to make sure. So I went back in and I got another MRI. And I'm just telling you, like, those 3 weeks in between the first MRI and the second MRI were like, I was like non-functioning, and I showed up. I still trained. I still prayed. I prayed hard. Jesus was like up in my face. I was talking to him and I was connecting with him, and I went to work and I continued, and I shared this with like one person at work because I just didn't want him to like question where my head was at times. Right. Got the second MRI came back and they were like, look, this is benign. And I got a taste of this enormous weakness of mine. Like a real taste of like, dude, you're not invisible. And so, I can't pinpoint why it is that I have such a fear of that, right? Because like, let's just play it out. Like, if it was cancer, my mind was death immediately. Mm-hmm. But there's so many things that people can do today to battle cancer. Sure. But like, I wasn't even thinking about that. I just kind of went to this like feudalist mentality where it was just like over. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes. I am fearful of like losing it all. And that example was like a glaring moment for me to be like, hey dude, like you do live your life relatively fearless, but like when you're faced with real adversity, you pump the brakes.
I mean, that's a significant experience you went through. So I don't know of any guy who could honestly be like, nah, I was fearless in that scenario. So, but the self-awareness I think you have, and the ability and the intention you want to take to your life in light of that is cool to see. And I know for you, you're such an intentional guy. You're always looking for the lesson, probably similar to myself. Like, what's the lesson here? What are you showing me here? Like, what am I supposed to learn here and grow into or live in a different way in light of this? And I think death or the scare of a test or result it can be a catalyst, catalytic moment for sure. You talked about, man, your family and being a dad. You got 2 boys, right? And I got so many questions, but the question I'll ask you now is, you talked about building this house of love. The culture, the atmosphere of your family is one of love that came to mind. How do you build a house full of love?
How do you build a house full of love? Well, I mean, I think it really does start by, as often as possible, telling your children you love them.
Yeah.
Like, words are incredibly powerful.
Yes.
Incredibly powerful. And sometimes, words get tossed around, right? But there wasn't a lot of love thrown around in my house as a kid. And, God bless my mom. Like, she tried really hard. Like, she was put in a very difficult situation with my father, who was, just all controlling, he was just the, kind of call it like the star manager. Like, he was the center of everything. And he was really sick mentally and physically, and his energy just was infectious in a negative way. Yeah. So he just, like, there was no love.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like love.
Mostly fear.
It was all fear, and it was all like unsafe. The house was unsafe for me. And so I wanted to be out of there as often and as much as possible. And that led me right into the hands of a pedophile, where there was sexual abuse in my life. And I like, the guy who sexually abused me, like, I loved that guy. Like, he treated me like a son. He was a cop. He was a Boy Scout leader, Cub Scout leader. He was a sports coach. Wow. And he was a pedophile.
Wow.
And that's typically the way it goes, right? And these guys predicate on kids who don't have strong fathers or fathers. And so this message to fathers out there, like, if you're not doing your job, your children are susceptible to these things, because those sick people they predicate on kids like that. If they get a sense, they're on it. And so I experienced that at a young age. And I was listening to, I think it was Oprah. I was listening to...
Love Oprah.
Yeah, I was listening to Oprah. I forgot one of her podcasts, but, she had a child psychologist on the show. And he basically said, kids that grow up in traumatic households do one of 2 things.
Yeah.
They either go completely in the opposite direction and, like, choose love, or they go the same way. They perpetuate, and they are abusive, are, filled with fear, and ultimately project that fear onto everybody around them, and continue the process of what they were, brought up in.
Yeah.
And I, luckily, probably started down the perpetual path, and somehow was able to, like, break the chain and just make a U-turn. And so, there's very little volume raised in our house. Like, my wife and I will argue like, in a healthy way. I think we've been together 20 years. We've been married 18 years. I can count on one hand the amount of times our voice levels have been raised.
Wow.
And so I think, and also, we make it a point to like kiss each other every single morning in front of our kids, kiss each other every evening in front of our kids, hold hands, touch each other, show this intimacy.
Yeah.
Not in a weird way, but like show that we love each other.
Sure.
And the kids see that. I also think that there's been moments where I've had to truly check myself. About 5 years ago in the beginning of the pandemic, I remember I was, probably 2021. My wife makes dinner every night at 6:00. I really love sitting down at the dinner table at 6:00 every night with my wife and kids.
Yeah.
Every night we sit around the dinner table. We go around it's becoming a little less now as the boys get a little older, but we do rosebud, thorn, and seed. One thing that happened that was really awesome today. One thing that happened that was not really awesome today. One thing we're really looking forward to, and one way we were of service today. So that's the rosebud, thorn, and seed. And we kind of just go around and we go through that. And I remember about 5 years ago, I was coming into the house. I pulled up my truck, 5:58. I had emails that I was still doing. I was walking into the house with my phone in my hand, emailing, walked right through the door, didn't look up, walked over to the kitchen counter. I'm emailing just to get this email out before get to the dinner table. My wife is super punctual about dinner. Like, if you're there, you're there. If you're not there, you're not. We're starting. And I was just like trying to get this last email out. My older son, Finn, he was 5 at the time. He came over and he said, Dad. And I was on the phone. I was just trying to get this damn email out because it's so important that I get this damn email out, right? He's like, Dad, get this goddamn email out. Come on. I'm just like pressure, stress. Dad, hey! Stop it. Don't you see I'm doing something? And I just like looked at him and he looked at me and he had this face of like true defeat. Like I had just taken the wind out of his sails. And it makes me emotional thinking about it because that stupid email was more important than the only thing my son wants in life, which is my attention. All that kid wants. Doesn't care about anything else. All he wants is me to love him, to just listen to what he has to say, because he was probably going to tell me about something that he did in school today. And all I did was snap at him and say, dude, this email is more important than you. And it just crushed me, dude. Like, just annihilated me. Like, right now, I think about it, it makes me so sad to think that I could have, and how many times did I do that?
Yeah.
To that kid, right? Like, and like probably, like, I don't know how many times, but that time was just so strong that I did that I just crushed him. And it sounds so silly and simple, but it just changed my life, that moment. Because I was like, I will not do that again. I will not do that again. Like, now I drive my truck up to the house. I stop my truck halfway up the driveway. I turn it off. I make sure to get there 5 minutes early. I close my eyes and I breathe. And I've created now a buffer between that work energy that's intense, that is on fire, that is always trying to be better, be stronger, be competitive, always on offense, on my toes, never on my heels, hands up. Like, that energy is required for the 8 hours a day that I spend working on my business. It's required as a CEO of my company. Like, I need to be that for my team, for myself, for the success of the business. I need to be that energy. But that energy does not belong at home. It just does not belong at home. It's unfair to me and to the family to bring that energy home. Those boys will learn that energy over time. They don't need to learn about being a strong entrepreneur at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They need to learn to love themselves, and the way they learn to love themselves is by being loved. And so I said, I need a buffer, man. I need to be able to find a way to recalibrate my energy before coming into the house. And so that's when I just decided that I was going to pull the truck up, turn everything off, do some breath works, about 5 minutes of breath work, recalibrate, and then walk back in baselined.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing, man. And that is another component to like the love at home, because when I walk into that house now, that phone goes into the drawer, closed, and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. I'm not obsessing over it. I am done, because that is the opposite of what those boys need. They need to see their dad ready to be a dad. And so I think that there's so many ways that the love in that house, is it's like it's all I want. It's all I want to do.
Yeah. Man, that's such a beautiful answer. And like I just admire you for so many reasons, but like you just sharing that, again, being vulnerable and real is so powerful, because like how many guys have been in a similar position and think they're all alone, like they blew it, and that's a defeating feeling, and that can perpetuate in unhealthy ways as well. But the boundaries, like you said, the breathing, so the phone in the drawer, the breathing, like the prayer, like that's, again, just simple actions, but it takes an intentional living to live the life you want. I think by default, life doesn't happen the way we would create it. But if you set the intention, if you recognize you have the power to slow things down, to live intentionally, you can really step into it. I wasn't planning on this, but if I may, I kind of want to read you something that I think I just immediately thought about when you mentioned that story. And it is a eulogy, essentially, this practice I did with the guys at my summit. And let me see it, if I spell it right. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it, but I talked about who I am today and who I want to be, what people say about me now and who I want them to describe in the future. And so I went into, here it is, I went into this time and I encourage the guys to do this, because how powerful is that, to put yourself in someone's shoes at your funeral? We're all gonna pass. We're all gonna, that's it, last breath, right? And I think the wisdom that comes from that is so powerful. So I had them write it, but then I was like, you know what? Like I need to sit down and write this. So here's what I wrote. And this is at my funeral, through the eyes of Gigi. And I'm starting to think about what she would say in a perfect world for me. And I wrote this. You were my best friend. You loved me through thick and thin. You always saw the best in me, and you stood by my side at my lowest point and kept choosing to love me at my worst. You were the best father imaginable. I'll never forget the way you loved our daughters. You always spoke life and you played like a kid. You looked deeply into my eyes and tried your best to make me feel seen. I'm forever grateful because you showed me what unconditional love looked and felt like. You loved God and you loved others, and you made everybody better. You saw the value in each person you met, and the world is forever changed by how you lived your life. I love you. And I wrote that, and it's emotional for me. But the flip side is like, it's emotional, but it's like I got more emotional thinking about what you just described. How many moments have I missed looking into her eyes like I care and like I'm present and not distracted by this thing, you know? And same thing with my daughters. Those moments that they're not all the time. You may miss one. That might be your last moment you miss, you know? And so that, man, is just such a powerful practice, and it's heavy. But man, does it freaking wake me up to what's really real and what really matters. So much of this freaking crap doesn't matter. And I get caught up in it, you know? Distracted by it. And I think it's a bigger deal than it is. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, yeah, your kids, my wife, my kids, they need my presence, and they need my eyes, they need my focus, they need my love.
Imagine this. The amount of time we spend there in that phone. Imagine that you were able to completely take every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, because it's years and years we've spent on that thing.
Yeah.
Imagine you were able to just shift it over to your wife and kids. Imagine how much more time, love, experience, like all of it you would have. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying we. I'm saying people that are listening, you listening to the podcast here, I'm talking to you. Imagine the amount of life, more life you would live and experience and love and be loved without the phone.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Hours and days and weeks and months and years. The best life on earth is that phone's life. That phone lives the best life. It gets everybody's attention. We typically film our lives first through our phones. Our phones see it first. We see something amazing and we're like, oh, phone out.
Yeah.
Phone gets to witness it first. And that's why I'm going to the light phone. I'm going to, you know, like, I want to do what I just said. I want to repurpose all of those minutes, hours, days, months, years, weeks, whatever it is. I want to repurpose it in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I just know that life, you know, like imagine, it's just, there's so much untapped, you know, like, so
Yeah.
that is powerful.
Yeah.
That thing is so powerful. That phone, it's so powerful. It's got its grips on all of us, you know? Yeah.
And like we chatted about earlier, I agree with everything you said. Like we chatted earlier though too, same time, it has opened up so many doors, so many connections. You're standing here, we're sitting across each other.
There's no doubt.
Because of social media, you know, because of these things. So, but this is it's why healthy boundaries and having an intention and having fasting time, you know, we talk about fasting with physical things, but what about our mind, you know, mental fast? Like it's so important to have things in place to keep you on the intentional path. Because yeah, left to our own devices, no pun intended, we waste a lot of time and we waste a lot of presence on things that don't really matter. So I love what Colin said. He's like, I'm doing a 2-week creating only, not consuming. I'm not going to be scrolling and doom scrolling. And I think that's success. And from that standpoint, it's just recognizing that sooner, more often, get back on track. No shame.
I mean, look, you know, like hunting has become a major passion of mine. And there's a number of reasons as to why, because I mean, I love harvesting my own meat and I'm a hunter at heart. Like I just love lifting up rocks but one of the most connected feelings I get in life is when I'm in nature by myself, no phone. I cannot be on the phone when I'm hunting.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, you can, but you might as well just not do it.
Right.
Because you're going to miss the deer. You know what I mean? You're going to give yourself up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they hear everything, they see everything. And so for me, from mid-October to basically Christmas, I get this opportunity to go out into the woods at 4:30 in the morning, sit by myself and just allow my brain to just decompress because there's no distraction. Like, I think kryptonite today for most human beings is boredom, right? Like,
what do you mean by that?
nobody wants to be bored. Nobody wants to sit in silence, alone,
Yeah.
quiet. Like, it's
Yeah, we avoid it at all costs, right?
at all costs.
Yeah.
It's like anything more than a minute. You know, like you're having a cup of coffee at the coffee shop by yourself, and you sit down with your coffee, and the first thing that happens is boom, phone out. You're waiting on a line somewhere. First thing that happens, boom, phone out. You're on a train, you're on the plane, you're walking from one place to the next. Boom, phone is in your hand.
Yeah.
You know, and boredom is kryptonite for human beings right now. And the sad part about that is the greatest things in life have come out of boredom. The greatest stories, the greatest innovations, the greatest inventions have come from human beings alone. Thinking, or maybe not alone, just no distractions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to just be.
Yeah.
And that's when, boom, the ideas come, right? It doesn't come when the ideas don't come when you're infiltrated by other people's ideas.
Endlessly.
Just we spend so much time consuming other people's ideas, other people's lives, other people's things. How do you expect to progress? The way you progress is by not looking at what other people are doing and just being in a position to then create from scratch. You know, like the way my process for business is, I go on either long walks or long runs with a pen and a pad intentionally to create and to think. If I know something needs to happen at the business, if I'm like in between businesses and I want to create a business, I'm like, all right, man, I am going to go out on these runs, and I'm just no phone, no headphones, and I'm just going to be and just think about what it could be. And if I got an idea, I stop, I pull out the pen and pad, I jot it down, and I keep going. And then I just work on developing that idea. Literally all 3 businesses that I've launched and created and exited 2 successfully in my life have come from long runs, alone, no technology, with a pen and pad.
Wow.
And ideas within the business. The name, the Daily Bar, came from a long run.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I going to name this freaking bar? Like, I sat in the office. I had a whiteboard. I was like, I'm coming up with all these things. I'm like, you know what? I got to bring it back to the OG. I'm going to start going on the runs.
The OG.
Go on the runs. Let's go on the runs and see if we can come up with something that is powerful, that's strong, and boom, it just came to me. Daily Bar. I came back, I wrote it on the board next to all the other names. I drew a line through all the other names. I was like, let me see if I can get this name, Daily Bar.
It was open.
It was open.
Yeah, that's wild.
You know, I couldn't believe it.
I
couldn't believe it, but it was available. And so I immediately jumped into action, filed the trade, you know, like I just got it. And then boom, like had I not gone on that run that day, chances are Daily Bar wouldn't have been the name. And now there's no better name than Daily Bar.
It's so simple. It's like universal.
I mean, it just says you're supposed to have it every day, man.
I think it's time for me to taste test it, right? Because I've been not avoiding. I wanted to have my first bite because you opened the package up to the boys here in the studio, and I've heard good reviews so far. But I wanted to try for myself on camera. So we got the Daily Bar, Creatures of Habit. It's got this, what is this, peanut butter chocolate?
Chocolate peanut butter banger is what you're having.
Chocolate peanut butter banger, 3 grams of creatine. How many grams of protein?
20.
20. And then it's got this like peanut butter color and chocolate drizzle. One bite. Oh, wow.
How's that?
All I want is a cup of milk right now. Like a nice cold glass of milk. Mm-hmm. That's fire.
They're good, man.
That's fire. What do you got there?
So this is the cookie dough dazzler.
Oh, dude, was that another long run, that name?
Well, The reason why I named them,
Wow.
so that flavor is called chocolate peanut butter banger.
Banger.
This is cookie dough dazzler.
Yeah.
Chocolate peanut butter is the #1 selling protein bar flavor.
Okay.
Cookie dough is the second top selling cookie dough, bar flavor. And I was like, well, I can't just call it chocolate peanut butter or cookie dough. So I was like, I got to come up with a little name that's just going to put a smile on someone's face. So like when they look at the flavor, they're going to be like chocolate peanut butter banger. Oh, like that's all I'm
Classic.
looking for. Just a smile. And so the names behind the flavors are there to just get that smile.
It's golden.
Like someone sees it in the store and they're just like banger. Oh, that's funny. Or that's cute. Or that's whatever it is, you know?
It's different. Even if it's different, it's beautiful.
And so, yeah, these bars, you know, we're launching these bars this week, and I've been working on this for 2 years.
2 years, and you could taste it, bro. It's next level. I'm a big texture guy. I love the chewy, but also you got some, I'm not sure if it's the nuts in there or like the peanuts.
It's got crunchies, man.
Yeah, a little crunchy.
Peanuts, chocolate chips, and protein puffs.
One of the few bars that does protein and creatine too. So packing that double punch is huge.
1-2 punch. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that, you know, Creatures of Habit are #1. We make this high protein overnight oatmeal, 30 grams of protein, gluten and glyphosate free oats. It's got chia seeds, flax seeds, and pumpkin seeds for omegas.
Stuff's huge.
It's got pink Himalayan salt for electrolytes and flavor, of course. We also add vitamin D3, probiotic and digestive enzymes for gut health. And so that's been our hero product for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we dropped a sleep support hot chocolate called Creature Sleep. Really simple. It's a powder. You add it to like a little bit of warm milk and hot water and, hand froth it. And it's just a delicious cup of hot chocolate that's just loaded with ingredients that help you relax, fall, and stay asleep.
I'm getting that tonight.
So good.
I love an evening routine like that, like a little tea and a book or, some stretching and tea. It's like if I have something hot to sip on and I can just like decompress from the day, that's my jam. So
the cool thing about Creature Sleep is it's got GABA, it's got a pigeonin, it's got Pepto-Sleep, it's got ashwagandha, reishi mushroom, L-theanine, magnesium. I wanted to make a sleep support sort of wind down routine, potion that did not use melatonin because melatonin messes me up. And so 2 years ago we dropped Creature Sleep. And as soon as we launched Creature Sleep, I knew that I needed to create the third product, which is a bar. I wanted to have a snack, but being a guy that, prioritizes protein for my macros, I was like, it just makes sense to do a bar. How am I going to distinguish the bar? I spent 2 years working on it. I refused to sacrifice ingredients. I was like, this has to be a clean ingredient, real food, protein bar. And it's hard. It's hard to make a bar that's going to be able to sit on a shelf for some time and taste really good and not be 400 calories, still have 20 grams of protein. So I've been through the ringer with the bar. But I believe we landed on something that's very good, and I'm proud. I'm so proud of it, And now that this sort of, I've always had the vision for Creatures of Habit to be this like wake up to wind down arc of things that, people can rely on us for in choosing this, not that nutritionally. And so now, you start your day with meal 1, oats. You have a midday snack, which is the daily bar, and then you can wind down with Creature Sleep. So the story is now complete, wake up to wind down.
Full day, total life. Transformation. I feel like you're like probably experienced with a daily bar, like this Edison experience where you're like, dude, I found out 1,000 ways how to not make a bar. There's 1,000 ways how to screw it up, but that's got to feel good to finally be coming to the market with that and then launching this weekend. So congrats on that.
Thank you, man.
What's your best advice for an entrepreneur who wants to be present and also achieve at their highest? So what's your best advice for an entrepreneur who wants to be present but also achieve greatness, strive for excellence?
I mean, the first thing I'll say is just ask for as much help as humanly possible. So much so that it makes you uncomfortable. like uncomfortably in need of help, because help is a requirement. And not only ask for it, but once it shows up, receive it.
Receive it. How do you know who to ask for help?
I mean, I've just gotten so comfortable asking for help. I ask everyone. I ask, like, I'm asking you for help right now, right? We're sitting on your podcast. We're talking about the Daily Bar. We're talking about Creatures of Habit. That's me asking you for help. And I don't feel bad about it. So ask for as much help as humanly possible. And anybody that comes into your path that you think could potentially help you, take the bait.
Yeah.
Take the bait.
Allow them to serve you.
Yeah.
You know?
Take the bait, because I think what a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is imposter syndrome and the fear of being a phony. We're all winging it. I think all people should just be comfortable with that. Like, we're all winging it 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, you get good at a thing, no doubt. But most of the time, you can't predict what life is going to throw at you. So you've got to be cool with just being nimble on your feet. And so understanding that we're all winging it is something that I think is important to say. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is, 98% of people quit. Right? Like, it is hard. Life is hard. Life is just hard. Life is just hard. And you can spend your life behind a rock hiding, or you could be out on the field, like I said earlier, like on your toes with your hands up, your, chin down, ready for what gets thrown at you. And the mantra that I have had to resort to many, many times over the course of my entrepreneurial career is simple. Do not quit. That's it. Do not quit. Because most people do. Most people quit. And the longer I've been an entrepreneur, the more I believe that mantra. Michael, you just simply won't quit. And maybe your idea is not the greatest. Maybe your business is not the greatest, but what people have bet on with me is that they know I am just not going to quit.
Yeah.
I will take punches all day.
Yeah.
I might not be the smartest guy in the room. I rarely am. I might not be the biggest guy, the toughest guy, the most creative guy, but I am the guy that will go toe to toe with anyone and everyone. And chances are we'll die on the hill.
Yeah, you'll outlast.
I don't quit. I won't quit. And I think what has made that possible for me is the boundaries that I've drawn, right? Like, what makes it possible for me to feel confidence in saying that I won't quit is that I have a start time and an end time, and I'm cool with not getting a line through all my to-do list every day. Like, I've gotten super comfortable with that.
That's huge.
Super comfortable. Like, it feels good to draw a line through those things.
Yeah.
But if I can't do it, for whatever reason, I don't beat myself up anymore.
Yeah, is it worth jeopardizing the sustainable long-term success for that burnout?
It is a freaking marathon.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you, no matter what you see on social media, no matter what story you've heard, no one gets rich overnight. No one is, all the top 1% have failed way more than they've won.
Yeah.
They have taken way more L's than they have wins.
Yeah.
And they've just played the odds of, I'm just going to stick around longer. I'm just going to fight harder. I'm going to stick around longer. I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. Oh shit, I just won. And so it's a marathon. It's not a race. It's hard. It's always going to be hard. It wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't hard. And And I guess the last piece that I would just say is, and what brought us together today is, do yourself a favor and have some community around you. Have a support system at home, the people that you love most. Share with them what's going on in your life. And then have a community of people that you can talk to when things get really tough.
Yeah.
You know, because I think what a lot of us do is when things get really tough, we don't really want to tell people. You know, like I can't tell you the amount of times I walk into a room filled with entrepreneurs and, you know, I say, hey, how's everything going? Oh, dude, we're killing it. And like, I know that's just not factual.
Right.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
If there's 20 entrepreneurs and every single person I say, hey, how's it going? And 20 of them say, oh, killing it. I'm like, man, there's a lot of liars in this room. Because when they ask me, I'm real. I'm like, man, like we're in a good place. But this area, we are sucking wind and I need fucking help. Can you point me in the direction of like someone that you've worked with that is an expert in this area?
Yeah.
Because man, it's like, it's hard.
Yeah.
If everybody's killing it, we'd all be doing it.
Right.
Like most of us are like in the trenches. And when you don't have a community of people that you can share that with, be honest and real and true, like, you know, you make the hard impossible, you know?
That's good, man. So ask for help. Do not quit.
Ask for help. Do not quit. Surround yourself with community. Be fucking honest.
Love that, dude. Put that on a freaking shirt. Okay, we can land the plane with the relational aspect of life. I mean, I'm good. We're at an hour 16. I'm in no rush, but I don't want to have you feel like you're overstaying too. But when I think about life being relational, I think about relationships. This term too comes to mind, like relationally fit. I think about that a lot. I think Live Elevated exists to help and empower people to be relationally fit. And the thing about relationships is they are external as well as internal. And we talked about it earlier briefly. You can be surrounded by people, but still feel alone. You can be connected physically, but still be isolated at the core, right? So that's been a big part of my journey, is that relationship aspect. And, you know, your outer community is only as good as it helps you develop and nurture your inner community. So that being said, let's go here, because I mentioned you talking about God and how it's kind of transitioned from more of like this universe type of like the universe is out there to a more like personal relationship. How do you think God sees you? Like, how does God view Michael Chernow? And maybe how do you think about God in this season of life?
I mean, God loves me. Straight up. Every time I hit my knees and I talk to God, all I feel is love. No judgment. Just like the pat on the back, like, nice work, dude. You know? And I think a lot of us just want that, you know? And I kind of say, you know, I've been talking way more about God, you know, recently.
I've noticed that on social.
Yeah, I've been talking way more about God because the way I see it is almost practically, almost logically. If you have an opportunity to, believe or not, like if you have an opportunity to, let's just say this God thing is real. All you got to do is ask for help in the morning and maybe thank at night. 5 minutes out of your life, you get on your knees and just talk to God. Ask for all the things you want. Pray for all the people you love. Ask for all the fears to be removed. Like if that thing is real, and that's all you got to do. Like, how can you not do that?
It's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal.
I mean, like, what, is there any downside to that?
Right.
Is there, like, give me a downside.
Right.
Point a downside out to me.
Yeah.
And then I would potentially entertain not doing this every day. if there's one thing that I've done consistently since the day I changed my life, 21 and a little over 21 years ago, the one thing I have done consistently is pray every single morning on my knees, asking for help, praying for people I love, praying for people I struggle with, asking for guidance. My prayer is simple, man. I say the same prayer pretty much every day. And I say, God, please help to remove my fears, my insecurities, my character defects, my character assassinations, my wrong thinking, and my rationalizing. God, please allow me to be of service today. God, please help to bring optimism and love and light and confidence and courage into my life today. God, please help to set aside everything I think I know so I could see life with an open heart and open mind and a new experience. God, please, please, please pray for my mother, my sister, Walter, Bernie. I have a long list of people that I pray for. Long list of people that I pray for. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. And amen. And, I say that prayer every single day, and I can't, all I could say is my life has been going like this. It's never gone like that.
Yeah.
It's just been like this.
No.
It's just every year. It's just, and I was sitting out at my tree stand the other day, and I had my feet out in front of me, and I looked down at my feet, and I looked out into the nature, and I was just like, I am blessed, man. We could find we could make a list, an endless list of all the things that we haven't done yet and the things that we want. But the power is in looking at what you got, looking at what you have right this very moment.
Yeah.
And so God is this thing that I believe. And I spend 5 minutes of my day every day connecting with and developing this relationship, and it's a never-ending relationship. It's an ongoing relationship. There's a powerful person in my life that I speak to once a week, once every couple weeks, and she said to me, so many people battle with this God thing because they watch the world in war, and their brother died, and this one had a heart attack, and how could God let this happen, and da 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 da. And she said to me, there's also an enemy. There's an enemy, right? God is always battling with the enemy. The enemy just wants to take us out. The enemy wants us to believe that God doesn't exist. Sometimes the enemy wins and takes away someone that we love. Sometimes the enemy wins and gets you fired from your job. Sometimes the enemy wins and makes you choose that thing that put you in that bad position. Sometimes the enemy wins. But if you have God in your life, God is there to give you the strength to get to the next day. That is what God is. God is there always in my life to give me the strength to get through the hard times, because the enemy wants me dead.
Yeah.
The enemy wants me on drugs. The enemy wants me to believe that I don't have what it takes to do the business, that I'm, have the audacity to believe that, people want to eat my damn oatmeal and eat these protein bars. God gives me that strength, that confidence. And, I do believe that. It's just, I don't, and it's not like on some woo-woo thing. It's billions of people believe that there's something more powerful than us.
Sure.
You get enough good people in a room together, all there to be better, there's no doubt that is a good place to be. So, I keep doing that. I keep doing that. I have real faith, and I think as my faith evolves, now it's, that person that I mentioned who was talking to me about this enemy, like, it's not God that takes the wife, that takes the job, that makes you There's an enemy. But prayer needs to become more of a conversation. And I never really thought of that. Like I was always like, you know, my prayer is like talking to God. And then I say, you know, God, I say the set aside prayer. God, please help to set aside everything I think I know so that I can get through this day with an open heart and open mind and new experience. Thy will not mine be done. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do my push-ups.
Yeah. Compartmentalize.
You know? Then I do my push-ups. And then I do my stretching. And she said, you know, are you listening? And I was like, probably not, you know? And so that's where meditation comes in, you know? That's where I could sit quietly, 10 minutes, listen to my breath, but also just ask God in that moment to just show up. Hey, I want to hear your voice. I want, you know, and I asked God, like today, for instance, this morning in the shower, I prayed and I said, God, just step in my path today. Just a sign, little one, just a little sign, you know, like I'll tell a story. So I was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years sober. My wife was traveling all over the world for her job. She was a model. She was all over the world. For the first 10 years of our relationship, you know, we didn't have kids. We got together young. I was 24, she was 22. First 10 years of our life, we just like, she worked, I worked, we traveled together. We got a lot of that stuff out of the way. She was all over the world. So she got a gig in Japan for like 6 or 7 weeks. And she flew to Japan, and I was like, you know what? I was so obsessed with Muay Thai kickboxing. I was like, you're going to be in Japan. You know what? I'm going to take off 6 weeks from work, and I was just bartending at the time. I was like, I'm going to go to Thailand, and I'm going to train in Thailand. And so I planned this trip. You know, I took to Muay Thai very quickly. Like that, for the first 10 years of sobriety, Muay Thai was the fitness focus of mine.
That was your vehicle.
And so I asked my crew, the guy who is sort of like my Muay Thai teacher, I said, hey, like, I'm going to go to Thailand. I want to train with the best of the best. Like, and he set me up with some really amazing camps out there. And so I spent 2 weeks in Bangkok, and then I spent 3 or 4 weeks out in this tiny little island that you had to take a boat to, like a freaking, like a canoe with a little engine on it.
Seems legit.
Yeah, the only way you can get there.
Yeah.
Like there was no planes that flew there. It was just this tiny little island called Hat Tien Island off of the coast of Koh Phangan. And so I'm out on this little island, and I'm staying in this tiny little hut. Very little Americans there, if any. I mean, I think there was a couple of guys that had come and go, but I was there for close to a month, you know, training with these guys. And about halfway through that time, I was on the island by myself, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years sober. And I'm reading Anthony Kiedis's book, his autobiography. And in his book, he just talks about his relapse. And he so clearly defines what it's like to be on heroin in the book. And for the first time since I got sober, did this crazy obsession just kick in. It just came for me. The addiction just kind of just like, I was alone, I was scared, I was tired because I was training a lot. I was hungry. I just felt vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's when the enemy just targeted me, man. And so I started feeling this obsession, and I knew that there was hash there. I knew that there was hash on this island because I could smell it. And I was like, that's it, I'm going to get high. Like nobody will know. Nobody will know. I'm on this island. I could do it one day. I could just do it one time, get high, let this thing go, and then I won't tell anybody. And then there was this other voice that showed up, and that was like, dude, pull out your big book and get on your knees and pray. Like read some of your big book, and then just pray and beg for help here. Like you don't need to lie. You don't need to get high. And then this other voice showed up and was just like, dude, just go get high. Like, it's all good. Like you could just, and this was like this in real time, me battling these voices. And so I chose to pull out my big book because I just didn't want to give up the 2 years that I had. So I pulled out the big book, and then I just got on my knees on the floor and I just prayed. I said, God, please put something in my path. Please, please, please put something in my path. Like, I don't want this to go this way, because I just knew. I played the tape. I was like, man, I'm going to go do that. And then I'm going to end up lost in the jungle somewhere, looking for all the wrong things, and I'm going to lose my girl, and everything that I've worked on is just going to be gone. So I probably prayed for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I walked down to the beach, and I was feeling totally just raw. And I heard this laugh, this weird, obnoxious laughter. And I was like, what is that? Where is that coming from? And I looked down the beach, and the sun was coming down, so it was starting to get a little dark, and I saw this fire. It's like a fire pit, probably 150 yards down the beach. And that's where this laughter was coming from. So I was like, all right, I'm going to follow the laughter. Part of me was like, maybe they're using drugs, so I'll be able to do that. Or the other part of me was like, let me just get, maybe it's something to help me get out of this place. So I get closer and closer and closer. And I told you, I'm on this tiny little island. You cannot get here without this little boat. There was this Muay Thai camp and this wellness sanctuary there. So I get closer and closer, and I see this guy, this dude who's laughing, and he's this black dude with dreads, and I'm like, oh, it's an American, okay, or like me, So I just kind of felt like American. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go talk, to just find myself in this little circle of people. And I get closer, and I'm like, wait a second, I fucking know that guy. I know that guy. I'm like, where do I know that guy from? And then I get up to him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he's like, I know you. And I was like, man, I know you. And he was like, I know where I know you from. It's like, I met you on First Street and First Avenue outside of an AA meeting 2 years ago. And we talked for a little while. And then I went back to travel. And I looked at him, and I was like, let me tell you something, dude. You just saved my life.
Wow.
And he just gave me a big hug. And I just chilled with him. And he was like, I'm not sober anymore. And I was like, that's okay, dude. I just asked God to put you in my path, and he did. That's not where it ends. So
that is insane, though. Carry
this. So that guy got me through that, right? About a year later, I was about to get married to my wife, and we were getting married in Denmark. And 15 people from my side of the family came out to Denmark, and it was the day before we were getting married. And Donna and I were walking with all of my friends and her friends through Copenhagen. And we're holding hands, and we're walking to Copenhagen, and the fear set in for me. Oh my God. I'm 26. I'm about to get married. This is scary. I've now made the decision that this person in my hand is my wife forever. This is my partner forever. This is the decision I'm making.
Yeah.
It's very scary. And I hadn't felt that fear at all up until that very moment where I was like, oh my God, it's happening tomorrow. I'm going to make a promise to this person for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
This is the person I chose. She chose me. I chose her. This is a real moment. We're walking, and I'm in my head, and then whoosh, this dude rides past me on a bike, and I stopped, and I was like, and he stopped, and he looked back at me. It was Sid. It's the same guy from the beach in Thailand.
How many years ago? Or how many years
ago?
Later?
It was a year later.
And you're in Denmark?
Denmark.
What?
And it was interesting because I didn't have to ask God to put him in my path that day, but God knew what I needed.
Yeah.
And so I stopped. I looked at Donna. I said to my friends, hey, I got to go see this dude for a little while there. She was like, what? I was like, I'll tell you. Don't worry. I'll tell you about it. Just, I got to go sit down and have a cup of coffee with this guy. I walk over to him. He gives me a big hug. I give him a big hug. And I was like, dude, you are my guardian angel. I don't know where you're from. I don't know how this happened. But you just showed up, for 3 times in my life. You've showed up in really interesting moments. And we had a conversation over coffee, and that was the last time I saw him, But I don't know, my Marcus would say things like, is it odd or is it God? Like, you ask yourself that question. I'm not telling you got to believe in anything. I'm not telling you got to do anything.
Yeah.
But put the energy out, man, And I have a lot of weird stories like that have just led me to believe, where is the downside to this faith business? Like, what's the downside?
Right.
How it's all upside,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't walk around, Bible thumping and telling people they got to, my wife is an atheist. She's scared that I'm going to end up being this, like, Jesus saves. And I'm like, look, I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that's not how I walk with this stuff. This is a tool that I was given day one, and I've been consistent with it, and I've only seen things get better.
Yeah, upside. And it's your own personal life. It's your own personal experience. And to me, that is the most powerful and effective type of storytelling or information giving or downloading for people. It's like, hey, what's it been like for you? Tell me about your life. Tell me about, versus like someone who's just like preaching at the street corner or at the college campuses. Like, those sometimes can leave bad taste in people's mouths. And you mentioned there's only upside, and that's true if it's rooted in love. I think I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, a Christ follower, and I have not always been Christ-like. So I still sometimes am not Christ-like, but I know my true self is, and it's like, if I can stay there as much as possible, then I'm living in my true identity. And I think that's the thing, rooted in love, because it can be weaponized, it can be used and abused, and we've seen that happen over the course of civilization. But at the root of it, it's like, nah, like at the root of it is love. At the root of it is love. And so
Look, man,
sharing your story is huge.
Again, right? There's God and there's an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the enemy wins.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can find a whole slew of reasons as to why not to do something that could potentially be incredibly beneficial in your life if it requires some consistency.
Yeah.
If it requires some work, you can list. We could fill this wall with excuses.
Mm-hmm.
There's an enemy. That enemy is the one that's promoting those lists of reasons as to why. And I mean, I've spoken to people, like I have this thing with my wife where my wife is really, she's a full-fledged atheist, and chances are if she was not, we would be Christian as well. But I'm not putting that pressure on her. And what I've been told is, dude, just keep doing what you're doing. And if it's meant to be, God will find his way into her life as well.
Yeah.
Just keep being an example, and don't push it. Don't be pressed. Don't push it on her. Don't push it on your kids. Like, don't make the thing that has helped you so much a problem in your life. Just, it's okay to be personal about it. You don't have to even talk about it with her. I've become way more vocal about my faith because, man, like, it has been so helpful in my life to have this thing that I believe has got my back.
Yeah.
All I got to do is talk to it. All I got to do is talk to it for 5 minutes a day. It's been so helpful.
Yeah.
Whether it's placebo or not.
Yeah.
Like,
that's truth.
It's just been helpful, right? Like, for me in the morning, to list out all the things that I want in life, and it's not like the cars and it's like happiness, optimism, consistency, confidence, to list all the things that I don't want in life, remove the fears and the insecurities, to pray for all the people I love. Like, I go through a long list. There's probably 50 people on my prayer list every day. I think about each and every one of those people every single morning. How cool is that? Every morning to like say someone's name and see their face.
Right.
And
Incredible.
like you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
had you not had a practice like that.
Right.
I get to touch all these people and bring them into my life every single morning. It's only going to make me better.
Right. More intentional, more loving, more effective. Yeah, I mean, I've shared it before, but I'm with you on the placebo effect. Like, I'm with you, and I think that nobody wants to be like sold on something. You know, it's like your bar. It's like, do you really want to freaking make someone believe in how good it is, or you just want to be like, hey, like, try it for yourself and tell me, you know, or like experience it for yourself and you tell me if it's good. And that type of that shift, I think, is huge. The other thing is, I really believe like prayer is not changing God. Prayer is about changing yourself. Prayer changes me. You know, when I pray, I'm definitely experiencing change and transformation. Like, it's accepting what you said. That's what Jesus said. Like, not my will, but thy will be done. Like, that pure surrender and acceptance. That's a powerful position to be in. And when I'm praying, and when I stay prayed up, when I stay connected to my Creator, that surrender, the heart posture of surrender is much more throughout the day. And that's a really nice place to be in, because you're not forcing things to be a certain way. You're not trying to control people or outcomes. You're just trusting the process, trusting the plan, and enjoying. And so the three things that I'll share real quick, I think it's like the mindset, and I'll ask you the beliefs question here in a second. I tell people, and I've said it before on the podcast, go on a thought experiment with me. Okay, you don't have to believe in God. Like, if you're atheist, that's all good, it's perfect. Just go on a thought experiment with me, like placebo effect. Just pretend for 30 days that God exists, right? There's someone out there, like there's a creator, and it has your back. So it's for you, number one, which is, you could spend a whole lifetime understanding what that means, for you. But not just for you, it's the added layer of for your highest good. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to go through struggle. Doesn't mean you're not going to go through some freaking shite, right? You're going to go through the valleys, you're going to go experience, but it's for your highest good. And it's using the job loss. It's using the OD. It's using things that you wish maybe didn't happen for your highest good. Because maybe if you didn't go through that OD, you'd still be kind of in this, I'm too comfortable down this really dark path, but it's not bad enough to where I want help. For you, for your highest good, and everything you need is already given. Everything you need to become everything you are, you have built in to you. We talked about the seed. We talked about that even this morning. The thing about seeds is it doesn't need anything else to become everything it's everything it's capable of becoming. It just needs to be in the right circumstances with the water and the sunlight. And you can make an argument that that's like God, love, life, you know, truth, surrounded by people who call that out of you, and you will become everything you were designed to become. We're seeds. So that's the experiment, like 30 days of that. And to your point, that's my style, is like, hey, I want people to say, okay, what is it about Brian? How is he so positive, encouraging? How does he approach and handle failure like that? How does he handle success like that? And I think that's to me the most effective way to share, you know, your faith with people, at least right now for me, is they will know you by your fruits. You will be salt and light, you know? And so that's really powerful.
When you think about the relationship with God, you know, I've had people say, oh yeah, well, like, how does he have time to, you know, like really diving into it? Like, how does he have time to individually help everyone and hear everyone and make, you know? And I kind of think about it like this, you know, you wake up in the morning on like a beautiful sunny day. Beautiful sunny. Your relationship to that sunny day is individual. It's you, like, that beautiful sunny day has an impact on you. That is God. That is the relationship. That beautiful sunny day that you wake up and you're like, oh man, today's a beautiful sunny day. It's going to make you feel good most of the time. Even if you're in a shitty place, you walk outside, it's beautiful and sunny. The sun is hitting your body. It feels warm. It feels good. that is the same way God has a relationship with every single human on the planet, right? Like it's just, hey, the person that introduced me to this higher power business said, okay, well, I said, what is it? He said, okay, come over here. We were sitting in this meeting room, and he goes, let's look outside. He goes, look at the leaves on the tree, and the leaves are moving. And he was like, who did it? Like, do you see all those leaves moving? Who is moving those leaves? Can you tell me who's moving those leaves? And I was like, the wind. And he was like, okay, who made the wind happen? I said, I don't know. The weather? He's like, well, who makes the weather?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. He was like, yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. He goes, he had strawberries. He goes, so he was like, grab a strawberry, take a bite of the strawberry. I was like, all right, who made the strawberry? I was like, mother, the earth. He was like, okay, well, who's the earth? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, neither do I. So, that's all you need to know, man. Like, if the leaves are moving, that strawberry tastes good. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it the way you want to, or take advantage of this thing that we have, which is connecting to a power that's just bigger and better and greater than ours, than all the time.
Yeah.
That you can rely on, that you can connect to whenever you want. When you don't feel like another human being, because human beings are going to fail, and they're going to fail you, and like that's just part of life. When all of that stuff fails, imagine still having something that's not going to fail on you. That's just always going to be there.
Yeah.
Whenever you want it, whenever you need it, it's always there. Develop a relationship with that.
Yeah.
And you've got a little bit of a fall safety system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like you feel like you're falling, and but you just kind of can remember that you've got a harness on.
Yeah.
You got a harness on. You're connected to the tree.
Yes.
It's all right.
Yes.
Like you can fall.
Yeah.
It's gonna jolt when that harness catches you, but like it'll catch you.
Yeah. I love it, man. And the truth there too that you mentioned in the sunrise, it's like that sunrise is happening. Regardless if you're inside, if you're sleeping,
No matter where you are in the world.
no matter what, that sunrise is happening. Do you want to participate? Do you want to enjoy? Do you want to choose to see the sunrise like a child does? Oh, I get to play. I get to do all my favorite stuff today. It's a new, you know what I'm saying? Like that's that childlike wonder that we talk about. And it's happening regardless. So you want in?
Yeah. Your choice.
So
Totally.
powerful. Last question is I've loved every second of this. I mean, I got to pee.
I know.
That's the only reason I'm wrapping up. You got to pee too. So I loved every minute of this conversation. It's like so powerful. I'm just grateful for you and who you are and what you're willing to share. It's awesome. You've gone from, man, wow. As men, we are so much more than our roles. Father, husband, incredibly important. Not negating that or discrediting that, but friend, CEO, coworker, we have roles and a hierarchy, but we're so much more than those roles. You've shared how you had a role, or a label, I should say, of abused. You've shared your label of addict. And now you have different and better roles, thank God. Entrepreneur, CEO, most importantly, husband, father, friend, brother. You've worn a lot of hats and you do a lot of things in the world. You serve a lot of people and you make powerful impact. How does Michael want to be remembered? Thinking back to the eulogy practice, or even right now, what feels right. Like, how do you want to be remembered today?
If I had to just boil it down to like one quick sentence, as a man who knew how to love. That's it. Love myself, love my family, love my friends. In order to love, you got to be able to accept it. So I knew how to receive love. It's just all, I think it's a man who knew how to love, you know, and I think if people can remember me for that, this was all worth it.
That was the best answer I've heard that question. Man, I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
We've just met in person, but you are the real deal, and I love seeing that in my life. Just I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by guys like you, Josh, Colin, Ryan, people I'm doing life with, and I'm a better man because of you. So thanks for being a man who loves and who does it fearlessly, and who's willing to share, even though you've had a past, even though you don't have everything perfectly together. You're fearless and you're courageous in that. So I see you, bro. I'm really proud of who you are, and I'm proud of who you're becoming. And like I said, you're just getting started.
Dude, I just the feelings are mutual, man. I'm so grateful that you guys just literally took me in here, open arms.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I know you because I see you a lot on the social medias. Yeah. But dude, you are also the real deal. I mean, what you've created here with your friends, your community. I can only imagine what it's like at home with your wife and your kids, and it's real. And I think I'm grateful to be now. I feel part of that. Mm-hmm. You know, you guys really like this. Just this morning, being out there on the beach with everybody was just, you know, what you guys are preaching and you're actually practicing, and that's not. It's not very common. You know, so thank you for all the nice words too, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me on the podcast, and yeah, dude, I appreciate you, bro.
Love you, bro. Man, Creatures of Habit, Michael Chernow, doing a lot of amazing things like Instagram, all his socials I'll link in the video description. But yeah, I mean, that was an incredibly powerful episode. Share this with someone who needs to hear it.
And also give your community that Pathos 15% off, man.
I'll include that on the show notes and the episode. That's beautiful. Thank you. Man, go share this with someone who needs to hear it, and go thank or message Michael if this impacted you. Thanks for watching and listening. I love you. Man, holy, that was life-changing, bro. Life-changing.